Yo, 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 Salaam, nerds. It's your boy Neebz, aka Watch with Neebz, and I'm here with Jazz. What's up, Jazz?
Yo, 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 my name's Jazz. I want to say Salaam Alaikum. It's almost Eid. But more importantly, I found my old bullshit button from college.
No, Jazz. Jazz, it's not almost Eid, it's almost Ramadan. Eid comes after Ramadan. You said Eid.
I'm getting way too excited.
You're trying to get to the good part without all the fasting. With shout out to his halal shirt with my fasting interference t-shirt.
Hey man, let's be honest. On Eid, you get the sheer korma in the morning. That's where it's at.
That is true. And what is it called? Kheer. Yeah, kheer. Gotta have that kheer.
You know it.
All right. Well, also shout out to our guest Ash. Welcome, Ash.
Yeah, hi. I'm Ash, otherwise known as Hey Dave on TikTok. Thanks for having me.
That's a very modest intro. Please give us some more details, ma'am.
Oh yeah. I am the person who brought the Fix Miss Marvel hashtag to TikTok. I'm gonna claim that because
Good.
I kind of started making other Miss Marvel TikTokers start using it by slowly befriending them and then forcing them into my little club.
Awesome.
Oh, so you started a cult, just like
Yes,
Moon Knight.
yeah.
I love that. I love that you started a call to fix Miss Marvel. Well, speaking of Miss Marvel, let's get into it. Let's talk about Miss Marvel.
Ash, it's you, girl, because you're the
Yeah.
Miss Marvel TikToker.
Yeah,
like,
you're the expert,
go off,
man.
girl.
Go for it.
Tell us all about
Okay.
everything.
Let's talk about Miss Marvel. Let's go.
I will say I do have a couple problems with the show, and it has less to do with how it's connecting into the MCU and more with a lot of the interpersonal characters. I'm going to start with Nakia because she's honestly the one I
Yeah.
have the most issues with.
Ooh.
Okay.
Just overall, the casting to begin with, I have been trying to figure out what nationality her actress is for like months now. I do know that she's half Caucasian, but they couldn't find a fully Turkish actress for the character, which was already kind of a red flag to me. And then when the trailer released, she didn't get a speaking line despite her kind of being the lowest lane to Kamala's story, which I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, that's already not turning out as well as I hoped.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that she wore her hijab in two different styles
Yeah.
in the trailer. I don't know a lot of hijabis that will switch up the style of their hijab like day to day.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I don't know. But that part looked a little weird to me because a lot of people, they wear their hijab and stuff per their culture and stuff like that. So it's very interesting that they did that. But Nakia wasn't at that party though, right? In the comics,
she was
she's
not at the party. She actually openly spoke out against the party, and even warned Kamala not to go.
Yeah,
also,
and she's
I do
also
wanna-
like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to circle back to the hijab. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing things. I have
No,
a
that's
very weird upbringing. But she often at times never really wears it like very tight and more in a turban style. So that was like so jarring to me that it felt out of character, which is a little bit weird.
I agree. I thought that was weird, and like I don't know, maybe they did it because they wanted to. I don't know, maybe highlight different styles of hijabs. Who knows?
But then, this is kind of transitioning into Kamala's mother. She is also hijab, or she also wears the hijab, and she often at times wears a lot more different styles and a lot more looser styles than Nakia does. Which I will say the Miss Marvel comics were really good about showing different types of headscarves that Muslims use. And it's getting into that worry category with the show.
Yeah, I think for the most part, if I'm remembering correctly, Maniba, which is Kamala's mom, wear the dupatta, and in Pakistan, dupattas are more common than a hijab. Majority of the time, women wear that, and they are very loose. They kind of look like hijab, but they're loose. You can see a little bit of the hair, you can see the neckline, like a little bit of the neckline, but a lot of it goes like across your chest and stuff like that. So a dupatta is a little bit different, and I think that's what they show her mom wearing most of the time, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think there's only one scene in the comics when she is not wearing one. It's very few and far between.
Yeah, but her mom is such an important character because that's where like the big moment comes where like she reveals that like she's Miss Marvel to her mom. It's one of my favorite comic book scenes. It's so good. It's so good. And she basically says like, "Oh, I knew you were Miss Marvel all along." Forget what she says, but she says something along the lines of like,
Beta,
the worst thing you do
knew.
is, yeah, it's like the worst thing you do is go around and say people, "Thank God I raised a righteous child." And spot on. If they capture that moment, that'll be it for me. That'll be it.
I will say that is the one way that the Avengers game kind of went wrong, is that they kind of took that focus away from her mother. Like, she's not even mentioned at all, and it was all Yusuf. I can accept, but her mother was such an important like figure in her life that I'm kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, but like I think that game changed everything. Like even her her intro, her powers, everything. So they were trying to go for like a brand new story, something fresh. But I love the fact that they put her in that game, because that game wasn't that great. It was like the playability isn't great, but like she was great in the game. Like people liked her, people didn't like the game, which I thought was really interesting. And like it's like people don't realize that like Miss Marvel is going to be the face of Marvel soon, because she has such a huge fan base. Her #1 issue was reprinted 8 times. Like you go to shows, they find some ways to throw Miss Marvel in there, even if she doesn't like belong. Like there's a show on Disney Channel called Spidey and His Friends, and it's Spider-Man, and it's like for little kids. Miss Marvel's in it. My niece watches it. She walks around saying "embiggen" if she watches it.
That's
right?
actually pretty funny because sorry for the audio issues. People like revving motorcycles down the street. I don't know if you could hear that, but
it's college. It's okay.
Yeah,
been there, done that.
But my nieces actually, I showed them Miss Marvel very early on, and they call her superhero Ashy because they're at least 80% convinced it's me.
That's so funny.
But the youngest one likes Spider-Man, the oldest one likes Miss Marvel, and I showed them, Spidey and His Amazing Friends, and for a solid month, that would be all that they watched. They would just go through every single episode, and I got them all the toys and stuff. They still all play with them, and it's really great for me to kind of see this representation, because growing up, I only had Carol Danvers in her like Warbird costume to kind of look up to.
Oh, God.
So now seeing, a superhero that, I started dressing up as her at like 13. Someone that kind of reflects me and kind of the upbringing I had a lot more. I'm glad that my nieces now have that, like, just at the right.
Same. Like, my niece watches it so much, you could turn the volume off and she will repeat every line. That's how off so many times she watches it. It's insane. But I love that. I love that, like, the one superhero that she's obsessed with just happens to be Pakistani. Like, that just makes my heart so full. I don't know. I didn't think we would ever see that, but it's cool. But that doesn't mean the show doesn't have its faults, right? There's a lot of problems that it seems to have, and you're part of the whole fix Miss Marvel. So what are the things that you want to see fixed about Miss Marvel?
I would definitely say, because it's a little bit too late with some of the casting problems that the show has. And luckily, so far it just seems to be Nakia and Kamala's mother, who is also being played by an Indian actress right now. But they managed to get her sister-in-law, Taisha, correct. They even found a Muslim actress for her. They got Amir correct. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on pronunciations.
Me and Jazz have a couple of mutual friends that are friends with Sagar, right?
I actually met him at the Beach Iftar last year in LA.
Yeah, I think Steve is pretty good friends with them. A bunch of our friends are pretty good friends with them.
He's actually from San Antonio. That's what I found out last year.
Yeah. I think he said that in an interview. And like, I was trying to get Steve to give me some more information, and Steve's like, no, he can't come on any podcast. He can't do anything for like, he said for 20 years, I think he said, right? It was like a big number.
God.
Disney owns him for like 20 years, I think. It's like weird.
Well, I mean, that's at least good on my part, because that means they're going to use Amir a lot more.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those more important figures in Kamala's life, and Honestly,
Yes.
even though my brother's only my half brother, I kind of see the relationship that we have like kind of reflected in that. It even got so weird to the point where the same year my biological niece was born, 2 months later, they released or they had an issue with Malik, who was Amir and Taisha's little kid. So kind of the same year I became aunt, and then Kamala also just so happened to become an aunt. It was pretty.
That's
pretty
so
cool.
funny. That is just this is a cool coincidence. The cool thing about Sagar and the girl who plays Taisha, they're actually in a movie together called Unfair and Lovely or something, right? I believe they're like in a short movie together. So they've actually already worked together.
Writing that down so I can watch it later.
Yeah. And the fact that it's called Unfair and Lovely, it's like, oh, okay. There's I haven't seen this, but now I'm interested.
Yeah, I think it's about colorism in the South Asian community and stuff like that. So it's probably pretty good. So hopefully, and it's really cool because, and it's funny that because they mentioned that a little bit in the Miss Marvel show too. But I think it's really, really cool. I really like it. And I think they're going to show their marriage. And I think they're going to show Miss Marvel doing a traditional Bollywood dance at the wedding, which is going to be cool because we can tell that that's what's happening at the wedding from the trailer. I'm so excited. And the biggest thing that I had an issue with is the whole Jin rumors, which I think are freaking me out.
I'm trying to hold. I know one of my mutuals on Twitter who kind of started the hashtag. She was a little bit more closer to the production than I was. She's at Fatima Comics on Twitter. And she, right after Grace Randolph had said that she was related to genies, she had come out and said that it's actually Jinns. So that rumor has a little bit more weight behind it than some of the other ones I've heard about the show.
That's gonna really get a lot of people who were supposedly going to get behind the show to back off a little bit, because that's really like the thing is, like, I think if they said something like, oh, a Jin gave her this bracelet and the Jin helped her, fine. I think you can get away with that. I don't think that's as blasphemous, all right? But to say that she's a descendant of a Jin or part Jin, like, I don't think you could say that. And I think that's the big issue.
I think that with this is probably going to kind of go into the power changes a little bit, but I think that if they wanted to remove the Inhumans from her origin, then doing all of these weird changes, like making her related to Jinns and changing her powers, could have been a lot easier if they had just said that the Kree released the mist, because the Kree are actually, they have some relation to the Inhumans, so you don't necessarily throw that away, but you don't have to try and explain that along with everything else.
Try to explain the Inhuman. They could have done that. The thing is, like, I really do think these rumors are true, because in the trailer, you see this woman go up to Kamala and say, you don't even know what you are, right? There's a line. She goes, you don't even know what you are. And I was like, oh, fuck. She's something. She is. I was like, and
I hope they don't
go
the Jin route.
They're gonna go that route, man. Because like, she's special, she's something, and I that's gonna suck, because people are not gonna be okay with that. And like, our first hero, like, it's bad enough. Like, like, we have a superhero in the DC universe whose main power is magic, and magic is haram with Dr. Fate, and now we got the biggest Muslim hero in the Marvel universe, and now she's, which is also haram. Like, what the fuck? Like, they give us so much, and then they put a little poison in there.
Which already the power changes had already turned, like, just automatically just kind of made me feel like, oh, the show is going to less tackle the issues of, sticking out amongst your peers and internalized racism. And then the Jin rumors came out, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going south pretty quickly. And it really sucks, because Aman Vellani, who plays Kamala, is about the most perfect casting that I could have asked for.
Yes.
She is so perfect. Like, the personality, like, everything. It's peak Kamala Khan.
And I think probably the moment that like sold it the most for me is that she actually has like her only social media is I think it's a Vimeo account where she like posts she posts like her little short films, and in one of them it was kind of like a little bit of a tease to, you know, Miss Marvel, and in it she had a lot of Iron Man stuff, and one of Kamala's biggest allies in the comics is Tony Stark's Iron Man. So I was like, okay, you understand the character. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I always point out whenever somebody wants to talk about Kamala and Iron Man's relationship, I always bring up the fact that he brings her halal food, and I was just like, I'm like, that is such a great detail. Like, I love that he brings her like shawarma or something. And I'm just like, that is so on point.
Did they hold up? Wasn't there like a post-credit scene in Avengers?
In the Avengers,
yes. Yeah.
Was that supposed to be a tie into this at some point, or
I don't know. It might have been a coincidence.
I think the comics might have tied it back into the Avengers because Kamala didn't meet Tony until 2015 for All New, All Different.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
When did the Avengers come out?
Right.
Avengers was like 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but this wasn't in the G. Willow Wilson one. This was after, right? I believe.
This was when she finally joined the Avengers. It was kind of in the in-between year when before Civil War II.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Oh man, but that's cool. I love that. I hate the fact that we're not going to see her with Iron Man, but I can't wait to see her with other superheroes. And the thing is, like, she always fangirls around other superheroes, but then she like comes into her own after a while, and she's not like as big of a fangirl later because she's like, okay, she's like
the definition of don't meet your heroes. Quickly after knowing Carol, just even the slightest bit better, it's like, okay, nope, I'm out.
Yeah. But one of the things that I really like was her arc where she's like depressed, right? She really goes into this deep depression, and then she goes to
exactly what I want to talk about.
And then she goes to Karachi, and then she finds like herself a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've done that too. I've been in really deep spots, and I'm like, I need to go back home and connect. And I go to Lahore, and I go and I connect with it there, and it was amazing. I had an experience, and I saw my grandma right before she passed away. So it was really cool, and I felt when she had that arc, and I was like, oh my god, I did the same thing. It's so cool.
It's honestly possibly the best arc that Kamala has ever had, and I'm like hoping that the MCU does it justice, because it's such like a personal arc, and it really like I'm mixed, so I don't really have like a direct kind of culture to go back to, but I still felt that like that wanting to know more about where you came from. Mostly because I've had to question my way into kind of understanding, you know, where my family's from in India, you know, what language do we speak, you know, all of these things. I've just had to kind of I've had to go to my grandmother and ask and like kind of snoop through her stuff a little bit to figure things out.
I love that. It's so cool. I feel like so many people can relate to that. They even did an episode of that on the show Rami, where Rami went back to Egypt to learn about his culture and stuff. And it's like, I feel like this might be a thing that like a lot of brown people do. They have that internalized racism, they get through it, and then they want to go and connect with their culture and their homeland. And it's cool that we got to see Kamala do that. And hopefully we get to see her do that in season 2. I feel like if they did that in season 1, it'd be a bit of a rush. We don't want to see that. But I'm pretty sure they're not going to show that, because the scenes that they show in India seem to be of the partition, right? Because you see people in a line and they're like walking, which is really cool. It's a really cool thing to see, because not a lot of subject matter talks about it. The only show that I know that has gone through this and did it really, really well is Doctor Who. Doctor Who has an episode called Demons Up Punjab. It's phenomenal. It's the most beautifully shot episode of Doctor Who ever, and it's about these aliens, and they're interfering in the partition, but at the end you learn that they're not interfering. They're just there to witness all of the deaths that go unwitnessed, because they just want to like acknowledge some of the loss that was there. I think that's something what to do. I can't remember it correctly, but it's really, really good. And it's
what
really
doctor was
like
that?
it was the female doctor.
13.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
me exposing myself as a closeted Super Hulock fan.
I asked a question, so it's okay.
Yeah,
You're in
yeah.
good company here.
But no, man, that's cool. So I am pretty excited about Miss Marvel. I think we talked a little bit about what our issues are, but I love the way it's shot. The whole like Scott Pilgrim vibes and everything. What are you gonna say?
I when she said that she couldn't find out the ethnicity of the actress who played
Nakia.
what was her name? Yeah, I actually found out quite some things.
Oh, what?
Her mom's name is Maysoon Fletcher.
Okay.
Her dad's Troy Fletcher. They're British, but Maysoon is a name that is predominantly Iraqi. It is Arab in origin, but it's mostly from the country of Iraq. So more likely than not, she's half Iraqi, half British.
Yeah, I think that's actually. I think I did hear that a while ago, but then I couldn't confirm it again. So I think that might be true.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, not super happy about that. Not super happy about that casting, but there's not much we can do about the casting.
Yeah.
There's not much we can do about the powers. I'm just
I'm
hoping
sure she's a talented actress. Like,
yeah, sure. But I am just hoping the Jin story would turn out to be false, because it would really alienate a lot of the Muslim people. Ugh, that would suck. But man, I don't know. I think there's still going to be a lot of good out of it. So I am super excited. I feel like I talked to a guy who worked on the show, and I asked him about the Jin stuff, and he goes like, all he said to me was like, I trust them. He was like, they know what they're doing. That's what he said.
That's actually optimistic then, because
yeah. He was a PA on the show. He said he worked in Atlanta for majority of the taping, and I was like, oh, how do you feel about these rumors? And he goes, listen, man, I just trust them. That's what he said. He goes like,
okay, that's his NDA way of saying it's fine. It's not going to be that way, I think.
Yeah, so I love that. So I got my fingers crossed.
That's hopeful. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Cool. All right, I feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that the essence of the show, like all the kind of comic book, I know you mentioned Scott Pilgrim vibes. I think that fits Kamala's character quite well, which is also why I have been defending that part of the show like relentlessly online. To the point where I got tired towards like the end of having to defend it from people. I went off on someone. It got taken down for community guidelines, and I was like,
wow.
we're just gonna leave it down.
Listen, speaking of going after people, I'm going to go after all these motherfuckers that are like, it's a Disney show. It feels like a Nickelodeon show. All right, first of all, goddamn motherfucker. Look it. Let's not pretend these Disney shows are not the shit. Let's not pretend these Nickelodeon shows are not the shit, all right? Like, right now, Lizzie McGuire, iconic. People still talk about that like it was amazing. Even Stevens, part of our childhood, amazing. Kenan and Kel, I will watch a rerun of Kenan and Kel before I watch another episode of Hawkeye. I swear to God. Like, these fucking shows are amazing. If Miss Marvel is remembered as one of these popular Disney or Nickelodeon shows, that's a W. That's a fucking W. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, especially
that's my rant.
I know that there's
Neeb's hot take.
I know that there's a show, and I think Yasmin Fletcher was actually on. It's a later stage Disney show called Annie Mac. I only know about it because I woke up randomly at 3 a.m. with Disney still on, and I saw it. And it deals with a lot more heavier issues in a way that, you know, kids can kind of understand. So I feel like that's going to be the direction that Miss Marvel is going to more take, as opposed to more, you know, fun, campy vibes all the time. And I think that it's going to be a very important show, because there's not really one that's there's not really a Disney or Marvel show that kind of focuses on a more tween to teenage demographic. Like, even the Spider-Man films kind of veered off towards the end.
Right, exactly. So
Spider-Man
I don't know.
was unrealistic.
Yeah, but I'm excited for this because number one, I feel like people underestimate like the strength that like one that Miss Marvel has on her fan base, and one like how much shit teenage girls buy. Like we've seen like Turning Red, right? And how those girls were all over the fucking boy bands, like,
which is a great movie, by the way.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, fantastic movie. I still listen to the freaking soundtrack at the gym because it's so good. But like these girls buy tickets to these things. Like that's a big demographic, man. Teenage girls spend a lot of money. Like even if the show doesn't do well, like they're gonna make money on toys. They're gonna make money on so much stuff.
That's like a big just overall untapped market from the superhero like genre. Yeah, I think it's even gotten to the point where I'm begging my mom to buy them more Miss Marvel stuff rather than them, asking for it. Just,
okay. But here's the thing, right? Like we know we've established that Miss Marvel is successful, right? But it was successful without these guys, the guys that are going around saying it's mid, the guys that are going around saying I don't care about Miss Marvel, because that's the same shit they said when the comics came out, right? And look what happened. And the same thing's going to happen with the show. Like, as long as they keep the character like true to what she's supposed to be and not do anything super offensive, like I think it could be very successful. I really, really think it can.
100%.
Yeah. And I would even argue that right now, it's Miss Marvel who's the face of Marvel Comics at this point. It's like her and Miles Morales, Spider-Man, like they're some of the highest selling books that Marvel still currently has. So when I hear people say that Miss Marvel is underperforming in the comics, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
by which metric?
Like,
show me.
Do you know how comic books work? Because like, I like 8-issue reprint on a new character, that's like almost unheard of.
Right.
I almost want to collect
it
those
is unheard
things,
of.
like in Infinity Stones, just so I have like each
one from
color.
each reprint.
And like I've read the comics, they are so good. Like I'm a grown man, but they talk about some really deep stuff. It's so good. And growing up, not just Pakistani, not just Muslim, but as a fucking Jersey boy, like I can't tell you how great those Jersey references are. There's a comic where she takes a train from Jersey City all the way down to freaking Red Bank, where Jay and Silent Bob are, and it's just like all these Jersey references on the way, Bon Jovi and like all this stuff. I love it. It's so good, man. Shout out to Jersey.
Yeah, I will say that the greatest thing about the original Miss Marvel co-creators, G. Willow Wilson and Sama Almanan, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce it.
I think it's Namath.
One side of it was, someone who really knew about New Jersey and knew about being a Pakistani American in New Jersey. And then G. Willow Wilson kind of took care of a lot of the more, Muslim sides and, a lot of the character details, like very specific about her powers. And it's I kind of feel a little bit sad that both creators were not able to work on the show, but I am glad that at least one of them was able to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, I feel like Marvel needs to start paying these artists and these freaking comic book people way more than they do. I think they pay them $5,000. Like, the person who did the art for Hawkeye, they literally stole... Like not stole, but they literally recreated everything they could in the intro scene and so many things, and like they couldn't throw them a bone. Like I don't understand. And Sana and G. Willow Wilson, like they need to get like compensated because like I don't know, like why wouldn't they compensate them? I don't understand.
I think that G. Willow Wilson in particular, she has had nothing to do with the show at all. And every single couple months that something gets released about the show, her Twitter notifications almost get flooded by it. So I really hope that just every single time they, she gets a question about the show, they just give her $100 just automatically.
Exactly. I mean, I believe that.
Worst case scenario, they can create a whole new company and make comics with different characters, and we just buy the shit out of that.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
That's right here, Zindan. Shout out to Zindan, which is a Muslim.
I actually have those comics too.
Yeah, it's a Muslim owned comic
You
book
have 'em too?
company. But I'm excited for the show to come out. It's a cool thing about this show is that it comes out 2 days after Eid, and since Eid is technically 3 days long, it will have the finale on Eid, which is super exciting.
pretty
I
cool.
think that's awesome. So that's really exciting to see. And I'm trying to do something in New Jersey where I'm trying to get a theater in New Jersey to let me pay to have a bunch of people sit in a theater and watch Miss Marvel. So I want to get like all the girls from this Islamic school that one of my nieces goes to, and I want to pay for all of them to come watch Miss Marvel finale in a theater. And I'm trying to make this happen, but all the theaters are like, no, you can only watch the stuff that like we have like rights to. And I'm like trying to find like maybe like a what do they call it, like a mom and pop shop theater in Jersey City that'll do it, because AMC was like, no, fuck you guys. But hopefully one of these other theaters will let me do it, or maybe the Liberty Science Center might let me do it because they're also in Jersey City. But I would love to get like a bunch of people to watch it for free, especially young girls from Jersey City who can save the world. That would be awesome for me.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Worst
I would
case
love
scenario,
that.
man, we'll just get like a university like amphitheater and get like a projector and make it happen.
You're right. I think there is a university in Jersey City that might do it. Let me hit up this community college in Jersey City. Let's see if they'll do that. Great.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And let me know how much it costs. I might go halvesies on you.
What were you saying?
Let me know how much it costs. I'll go halvesies.
Yeah, man. Yo, money's no object when it comes to representation.
Right. I'll go
Really?
halvesies.
It really isn't. I learned that last year when I was still on my internship and I had income. It may have went a little bit crazy with my comic book collection.
All right. Speaking of going overboard, let's.
The legendary transitions.
We have gone a little bit overboard with time, so that'll be all we have for today's episode. So thank you everybody for joining us, and let's say Salaam, nerds, and peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you for having me.